All right, fight fans, we are past another UFC event. UFC 303 just got done with the entire card and watching the entire card. I'm gonna go over some of my predictions and also go over some things that I took away from some of the fights that are especially throughout this entire card that were definitely something to be able to take from. uh, First off, I want to say what an impressive victory, especially by Vinicius Oliveira over Ricky Simone. I did predict Ricky Simone over Vinicius because I thought just his experience and his wherewithal that he was able to take through his other fights, um, especially against Marab, especially against people like I forgot the dude's name, but he's Chinese. Who just recently fought Periera, and just forgot his name. Just fighting those type of caliber of fighters and being in those type of fights and it being such a big jump up for Oliveira, I thought that it was going to be something difficult and something hard for him to be able to challenge, especially this being his second UFC fight. And he passed with flying colors with this test that he just had, and he showed that he's uh, able to be around that same type of level. I don't know if he needs a ranking as of right now, but I would definitely have him someone to worry about outside of the rankings for people that are in the rankings, especially in 15, 14, 13, and 12, for them to be able to look over their shoulders. He showed that he had really good striking on the feet and was able to get up from the takedowns from Ricky Simone. The one thing that I was definitely happy to see and was able to get over really, really quick was that Peyton Talbot took care of business and stood on business for 20 seconds for his amazing knockout. That was really, really nice to see and really, really nice to be proven right about Peyton Talbot getting a first round knockout pretty easily. Pretty easy to predict that one, but it is what it is. Another interesting fight between Gene Silva and Charles Jourdain. Pretty competitive on the feet between the two, and then Gene Silva just landed this nasty uppercut. I mean, nasty uppercut on Charles Jourdain. Really put him out. They looked like they took both of them pretty good shots to the head, and they were able to just go through it with the fight. Jordan showed a little bit of his grappling a little bit and had a little bit of an advantage of it, but Gene Silva just is a powerhouse. He's a tank of a man, dude. He's just as small as he is for his frame, and it's the weight that they fight at. I believe it's 145, which is bantamweight. It's incredible, incredible, incredible. Excuse me, featherweight. And Joe Pyfer, also another person to be able to get my prediction correct and something that I really wanted to see, especially off a bounce back loss against Jack Hermanson, was able to get that first round knockout, was able to put this dude, Mark Andre Barriel, a big dude that just likes to stand there and has no power and just is ready to get hit and knocked the fuck out. He actually got knocked out there. Pretty good to see him. He was a pretty emotional, especially after the fight. And it was just a good showing. I was especially proud to get my predictions correct of Piper and Talbot to get those first round knockouts correct. For those guys to just show out there, the really just be in favorable matchups that they really need to get the spotlight on them, especially on a big card or a card that was supposed to be as big with Connor on it. Um, but now having Alex on it, which is Alex is he's the man, bro. There honestly, if you're gonna stand up with Alex, you're pretty much gonna get knocked out. But that's for later in this video to talk about. But Piper gets him a nice, easy first round knockout, something to build some momentum for him in his young career, and potentially be able to run through some of the middleweight. He did call out Paul Craig, which would be a pretty easy fight for him. It should be an easy fight. Paul Craig has no stand up at all. Um, then we go into the main card and we talk about Ian Gary versus Michael Venom Page MVP. And man, like what unfortunate of a stinker this was, dude. That I honestly was very hyped for this fight. I really did want to be able to enjoy, these two, but it just showed like very early on MVP had the advantage, like without a doubt, like without a shadow of a doubt. He was gonna be able to do exactly what he wanted to do. He had his timing. He had the speed. He was landing a lot of the overhand rights, especially in the second round, which is the round that I believe MVP won. But Ian Gary, man, you talk a lot. You talk about being the faster guy. You talk about being better technically. You talk about being the better striker. You talk about being one of the best strikers in the UFC. I mean, dude, like this was a shit performance from you, bro. Like your stock was down, and now your stock is going even way down after this, man. Like this was very, very disappointing. He did get the win. He did pull it off. And, Gary, he won on his shit grappling against MVP, whose grappling is even more shit than his. Uh, because he just couldn't stand with the better striker that was in front of him. And he was supposed to be touted as this elite prospect striker that's on the come up. And he gets the win. He proves that working with Shoot the Box, working with Charles Oliveira, Diego Lima, and those guys over there in Brazil, that it does work and pay dividends for him to be able to have the things uh, in order to develop his game a lot better than what it is before. But it was just disappointing on all levels and all facets. If it stayed standing up, MVP would have knocked him out. My prediction of MVP knocking Ian Gary out, because he hurt him a lot of the times, or he landed a lot of good shots to be able to put a lot of damage on Ian Gary, he would have knocked him out pretty easily. So Ian Gary had his saving grace of relying on grappling. That was shit. And if he fights anybody else that's on top of the rankings, whether it be Colby, Kamaru, Shavkat, JDM, uh, they're going to knock him out or they're going to submit him pretty easily and pretty handily. It was honestly that embarrassing in my opinion. Moving on up, the card. Maribel Silva and Macy Chasson. I believe that was the next fight after that. Was a good little scrap between these two women. I didn't have a prediction, and I want to talk about it because it was I mean, dude, it was a nasty cut on Maribel Silva. I understand the stoppage. I Do I agree with it? Not really, but I understand why they stopped it. You know what I mean? It was a nasty deep cut, but it was a good scrap overall between these two gals. They showed out. They, provided more entertainment than it was before in the other fight between MVP and Gary, because that was a stink fest. Um, and I was actually, quite entertained with them being on the screen. And then we go into the next fight between Roma Delizzi and Anthony Smith. And per usual, as expected, a very sloppy fight between two sloppy guys. Delizzi looked like he was a middleweight, like a natural middleweight compared to Anthony Smith. But Anthony Smith is just shit, same as Roma Delizzi. The one thing I will give credit for Roma Delizzi is that he did have a lot of good low kicks throughout the entire fight. And he did control Anthony Smith a lot when he thought he had him hurt when he bum rushed him down. But embarrassing, uh, to say the least, for the light heavyweight division for a natural middleweight to go against one of your top 10 ranked fighters and just go out there and again put another stink fest, but just tit for tat, just barely beating him. I mean, I don't know. That fight was. I expected that fight to go the way exactly it went. Anyways, moving on up to the co-main event. Dan Ige shows up and replaces Brian Ortega. Takes him out WWE style. Goes into his locker room, gets a steel chair, and knocks him up the head. No, I'm just kidding. No, Brian Ortega fails, or his body, how weakly he is, or whatever the case may be, gets an illness, gets sick, is not able to fight, and then there's rumors and rumblings on the internet and social media about Danny Gay popping up to the UFC 303 and him potentially getting into the co-main event fight and showing up on 4 hours notice, which is crazy. That's BMF stuff right there, baby. That's even though the fight wasn't that great, but dude, just to be able to pull up and show up 4 hours notice, be like, yo, give me this fight, let me show my talent, let me be able to take this opportunity and chance to show what I really am and capable of as a fighter, dude. Dan Ige and Diego Lopez are some gangsters, bro. You have to give them hands down super mad respect, super credit, dude. Like it was crazy. Like honestly, I give it a lot. I give it a lot. Shout out to Dan Ige. Shout out Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez definitely won the fight. He won the first 2 rounds for sure. It looked like Dan Ige was trying to pace himself in the first 2 rounds. Um, Taking his cardio well. They bumped up the fight to 165 at a catch weight instead of, first it being a featherweight fight at 145 and then getting bumped up to 155 as a lightweight fight, and then now all of a sudden it's 165. Again, all on quick and short notice, man. It was crazy. You know what I mean? Um, but again, the first 2 rounds, Diego Lopez was very explosive. He used his grappling. He was threatening with a lot of submissions and was able to just be the Lopez that he is, the marauder, the moving forward and pushing that pace. And then Dan Ige just put the pace on him in the third round. Really was able to buy time and show that veteran experience that he does have, and he was just a gangster, bro. Landed some good right hands. Won the last round again. If I already said that already, just some gangsters, bro. Real life gangsters for Dan Ige and Diego Lopez. Super mad credit for them. They didn't have to do what they had to do, but they did what they did. And then we go on to the main event of Alex Pereira versus Yuri Pohaska. And wow, just watching the fight between these two guys again is just a privilege to be able to watch that as a fight fan, regardless of the outcome, regardless of whoever won the fight. Again, I predicted Yuri Prohaska to come out on top and be victorious, and I was proven wrong. And Alex Pereira is just showing you in time and time again why he is now the face of the UFC. He is, without a shadow of a doubt, or possibly besides Conor McGregor, be the biggest draw in the UFC. If you're standing up with Alex, bro, you don't have a chance. He's eventually gonna break you down systematically, get to where he needs to go to, land his left hook, or land whatever he wants to land, and he will knock you out clean. Clean. And that's something that I was saying in my predictions about Alex Pereira being a bad matchup for Yuri Prohaska, especially with the leg kicks. It just showed up again. Yuri was very tentative. He had his moments in spurts where he bum rush Alex, and Alex was able to stay calm and stay cool, but still landed those nasty, nasty, untelegraphed leg kicks. I mean, it's sick. As a dude that trains, and to see those leg kicks that just come out of nowhere and they just land, dude, I commend him because that's tremendous talent, and credit to him and credit to Alex. And then towards the end of the first round, Alex lands the kill shot of the left hook, nearly takes Yuri out, and he barely survives. It literally, as soon as he landed it, the horn blew, and it was on to the second round. And as soon as the second round commenced, he landed a nasty head kick, and again floored and dropped Yuri to the ground. And Alex just prevailed. Alex didn't really have much in my opinion, to gain after this fight, but what he did gain was him being not just one of the biggest draws, but probably one of the best pound for pound fighters. Regardless of you saying of what he is with his grappling and how you can be able to take him down so easily and this and that, he's going against these fighters and he's standing up with them and he's knocking them out. I mean, Yuri Prohaska, Jamal Hill, Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland, especially now, Jan Blachowicz, all these dudes that are known for their striking or known to have good striking or are known to have knockout power, he's putting them out, and he's putting them out very easily, and he keeps it up. I mean, who can he fight? He's talking about moving up to heavyweight, potentially fighting against John Jones. If he does fight John Jones is for sure not going to want to stand up at all. He's going to want to take him down immediately in that fight. I would think the same thing of Tom Aspinall. But I think Tom Aspinall has a better of a chance, especially right now on the stand up, on the feet with Alex. Definitely another fight that probably is going to finish in 1 or 2 rounds. That whatever ends up being thrown is that's it. Good night, Irene. Um, in the lightweight division, he pretty much cleared it, in my opinion. I don't think there's anybody that matches Alex Pereira in the lightweight division. You could say Magomed Ankalaev has good striking, has good wrestling. Is probably going to use that to his advantage, his grappling and wrestling. If he ends up getting the fight with Alex, but if it, if any time it, even if it's 30 seconds, it ends up standing up. Alex is so dangerous, such a problem on the feet that it just warrants any type of heat of warning that you're able to get. Again, I thought Yuri was going to be able to pull this off, but Alex is just his kryptonite. It's just a problem for him. He's not able to deal with the type of power that he was able to deal with Rakic against Alex, and that just shows you how much of an advantage and how much talent, um, God-given talent that Alex has, man. And honestly, this card was pretty good. I'd probably give it like a 6.5, 6 out of 10 on the entertainment scale, in my opinion. Alex, again, is the face of the UFC. If you do not agree, that is your opinion. You can have your own opinion, and you can share your own opinion in the comments section and say whatever you like in your perspective of how you saw these fights or any of the other fights that I probably didn't mention or didn't care to mention in this review or this reaction. Like if you like this type of video, and subscribe if you want to see more of these type of videos, and this channel is something that interests you and something in the future. We're here every Saturday night or after every Saturday night for every fight night, whether it be the UFC. I'll be seeing if I can get into one championship as well on this channel, but definitely boxing as well. Stay tuned for that, boxing fans, if you're waiting for that video for Teofimo and Bam Rodriguez. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.